What's up guys, it's Josh from KeepItTechie, and today I wanted to do another MySQL video. Okay, so as I said in the intro of the video, I wanted to talk about MySQL again. This will be my fourth video on this topic, and I kind of want to go a different direction. And it's just mainly showing you guys how to set up phpMyAdmin, which is basically a web application that you can install on your server that has MySQL on it, and it allows you to do some basic management of the server. You can also run queries on it and all that good stuff. So I wanted to go down and walk you guys through how to actually set it up on Ubuntu 20.04 and handle all the configurations so you can get in and start using that on your MySQL server. So let's get started. Okay, so in this video, I want to go down and do the demonstration, or basically show you guys how to install phpMyAdmin in Ubuntu 20.04. So I already have a server spun up in VirtualBox. It's 20.04, and it already has LAMP installed, which is, it's basically a LAMP stack. So it's Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. And if you need some information on how to actually install the LAMP stack, I actually have a video, and I'll put a link. It should pop up in a second. But anyway, it's a very simple process. You basically install Apache, MySQL, and PHP. So I already have that set up in this virtual machine, and I want to just start at this point where I want to get phpMyAdmin set up. And just a couple of the things that you could do with phpMyAdmin that I didn't explain in the beginning, but basically phpMyAdmin, it kind of communicates directly with the MySQL installation. You know what I'm saying? And you can handle like authentication, like a user accounts, credentials, all that good stuff there. You can also execute SQL scripts, as well as, modify tables and handle backups. You can import databases that were previously backed up. You can import them and put them on the server directly from phpMyAdmin. So it's a pretty cool application that you should use as a system administrator if you have a MySQL instance that you're trying to manage. Now let's go down and get to the install. And the first thing you want to do is actually update the system, which shouldn't take too long, but it's a Ubuntu system, so you just simply use sudo apt updates. And I'm pretty sure this system is up to date because it's a brand new virtual machine that I installed yesterday. If it has any updates, it'll only be like 1 or 2. So let's just wait a second. And yeah, all packages are updated, so we don't have to upgrade the system. We don't have any packages that need to be updated. Now let me go down there and clear the screen so I can walk you through installing phpMyAdmin. The package name is phpMyAdmin, so let's go sudo apt install phpMyAdmin. And there are a couple other packages that you need to install, and they're mainly PHP extensions that you need to install on a server. So let me go down and add those in there, and I'll explain each one as we type them in. But php-mb string. And just so you know, this is a module for managing non-AC2 strings and convert strings to different encoding. So that's one of the modules that you need to add. And then you want to add php, I think -zip, and that's basically so it supports uploading zip files for phpMyAdmin. And then also the next one is php-gd. And that one enables GD graphics library. It basically puts the library into the system for PHP. And the next one is the JSON library. So you want to add that on here. So it's php-JSON. And like I said, it provides support for JSON serialization. And if you don't know what some of these are, just go down and look them up. And get a better definition of what they actually do. I just kind of wanted to give you the packages, but the last one is PHP curl. This allows PHP to interact with like different kinds of servers. You can use the curl command. It's basically PHP curl support. And that's pretty much all the modules that you need added with phpMyAdmin. So we can go down, press enter, and this will go through and install all those packages on the system. And so one thing that'll pop up is simple configuration, and what I want to use is Apache 2. It's basically asking you the web server, so you want to put that in there. So you basically hit the space bar to select, and then you can hit tab, and that'll take you over to the OK button, and then you can just press enter once you get there, and it'll continue on with the installation. And I believe this port takes a little time, so I'll go on and put on some music and come back when it finishes. Okay, cool. So this is the last thing that I asked you during the installation. It basically says configuring PHP. The phpMyAdmin package must have a database installed and configure it before it can be used. So basically what this paragraph is asking you if you want to set up that database, or otherwise you can set up the database, manually, which I wouldn't recommend. You want to go down and let the installation create the database for you, and it should ask you for a MySQL password. So it creates a MySQL account, user account, which is named phpMyAdmin. So you want to go down and set a password for that, and then go down to OK, and then type in your password again just to verify. Press enter. It's going to create that database for you as well as those accounts, and just verify everything and populate everything into MySQL for phpMyAdmin. So let's go on and wait for this thing to finish. Shouldn't take much more longer. Okay, so now that the installation is done, it's a few other things we need to do. It's actually just one other thing. We actually need to activate the MB string module. So let's go down and do that. It actually copies the MB string module to the Apache modules location, and what you want to do is activate that MB string module. So let's go down and activate it, and the way you do that is simply by typing sudo php enable mod. So it's enmod, and then you want to enable that MB string module. And if you got any questions about enabling modules as well as enabling sites in Apache, I created a video not that long ago on how to actually do this, where you can go in and add modules, and it shows you, and I show you how to actually enable them. But this is the way you do it, and also I'm gonna put all these commands in the description of the video, so if you have any questions, just check that out first. It'll have it step by step in the description of the video. But let's press enter here, and this will enable that module like I stated. And the next thing you want to do is actually restore Apache 2. So you just simply type sudo systemctl and restart, and then Apache 2. And the reason you have to do this is because it won't recognize that we activated that module until we actually restart Apache 2. So let's go down and restart it, and shouldn't take but a second, like you just seen, and it didn't give us any errors. Otherwise it would have errored out. So it actually took that module now. Now there's one more thing we need to do before we actually go to phpMyAdmin and actually open it up and log into it. When phpMyAdmin is installed onto the server, it actually automatically creates that database user that I was talking about a little earlier during the installation, the phpMyAdmin user account, where this account is mainly used for certain like underlying processes for the actual program, and you don't want to actually use that to log in. So you want to make sure you can log in by using the root account. And so I want to show you guys how to modify that by actually going into MySQL on the server itself and modify the root account so you can log into phpMyAdmin using that account. So the command to log into MySQL is simply sudo MySQL, and that'll actually log us into MySQL. And one thing you want to do is actually look at the accounts that are on MySQL. There's actually a table called MySQL.users, and this table has all the user accounts on the system. And let's go down and look at it and just see what it actually looks like, or see the accounts that are on it, because I think we have to modify that root account, and I want to show you guys how to modify that root account. So let's go select, and what we want to look at is the user and then the authentication string, and that's authentication string underscore string. That's the name of that column. And then you want to type in plugins. We can look at the plugins column and then the host as well. And we can look at from that actual table that I specified, the MySQL.users table. So let's go MySQL.user table. And then you always want to end your select statements with a semicolon. That way it'll, close out that statement. So let's press enter, and we can actually look at what it actually pulls up. And it's a little messed up because I can't fit everything, because it'll actually be off the screen and you guys can't see it. So that's why it looks kind of weird or whatever. And basically what we're looking for is the root account. And as you can see right here, this is the root account. So under the user column, the root account, and basically what we want to look at and see if it's on authentication socket, which we want to change that, because we want to actually make it to where we can use a password to actually log into the root account. So we basically want to change that column, and I'll show you guys how to do that right fast. And basically what you want to do is run another query, and I'll show you guys right fast. It's basically altering this table, and it starts off with alter. And just one thing I want to let you guys know as well before I move forward, but please check out the first, second, and third version of my MySQL videos. I go through how to actually run queries on the server using the command line, just like what I'm doing right now. That's why I'm kind of not explaining everything. I'm just kind of going through it so you guys can actually see what to do in this case. But those other videos have details on how to actually run queries, check tables, alter columns, and all that good stuff. So let's go down and finish this query, but it's alter user, and we want to specify that user, which is root, and you have to put it in a single quote, and then at, and then a single quote. We want to put localhost, meaning this computer. So basically the localhost. And what we want to do is type in identified, and you gotta make sure you type this stuff in, and it doesn't matter if it's uppercase or lowercase. I know you've probably seen me type it in lowercase, and actually I'm about to mess up this query because I always mess up the spelling of identified. I always put an N in there for some reason, but just make sure you type it in properly. Identified with, and what we want to use is the caching SHA-2 password. So let's type that in. So caching is basically what's showing on these, and this is the actual password for these accounts, SHA-2 and then underscore password. And then now you want to type in your password. And I'm gonna just basically make something simple, just password 123, and then put the close quotes. And then now you want to close out the statement by putting a semicolon at the end and press enter, and that'll run that query. It says query okay, and then we can also run the select command again, and that'll pull the root account. Just looking at it, the root account, and then now it has a password in there, and it's set to caching SHA-2 password. So now we can use a password to actually log into MySQL. Now that we finished this port, let's go on exit out of MySQL. But now that we finished this port, everything is done to actually log in on phpMyAdmin. So let's go down and pull up the website right fast, and that way you guys can see how to actually log into it and actually see what phpMyAdmin is all about. So let's get to that. Okay, cool. So I have my browser up and I'm already at the server's IP address. So basically what you want to do is type in the IP address, or if you're on that actual server, let's say it's a server with a desktop and you have a browser installed, then you could just type localhost and that'll take you to it as well. But this is just letting you know Apache 2 is installed right here. This is the default page for when Apache is installed on a server. So one thing I want to do is just go down and show you guys how to get the phpMyAdmin. So you could just type in the IP address and then /phpMyAdmin, and it should bring up a page for you to log in. So we can just log in using our root account. So if we type root and then our password that we set on the server and press enter, and that'll log us into the server. And this is phpMyAdmin. So it shows you, like, on the left hand side, I'm gonna just give you guys a brief overview of it. But on the left hand side, this is all the databases. So these are the databases that are created by MySQL. If you look right here, this is the phpMyAdmin database that'll run in the background while you have phpMyAdmin installed on the server. And you can go through and expand these databases. If you like add another database on here, you can expand it, look at all the tables, all that good stuff. And you can also create databases from here, which is super cool. So long as you logged in as root, you have root access to do everything. Now if we go up here to the top, this is everything for the server. So we're on the actual main page where you can change the password. They have like multiple themes, you know what I'm saying? I think they have you can add more themes to it. So, and then you can change the font size, and it gives you all the information about the server. So Linux, localhost via Unix socket, server type MySQL, SSL is not being used. So if you had stuff installed, like SSL cert install, then it'll let you know right there. And then also the version, Ubuntu 20.04, and the user account that we installed that we're logged in under. And then this just gives you information about the web server, and then the phpMyAdmin, the version, and just some more documentation, links to documentation, and all that good stuff. And then you have more appearance settings. I'm not gonna really mess with them too much. Actually, let's go back to that main page. Cool, but you can go in under each one of these tabs and they have more settings. So if you click here, this shows you the databases as well. So these are all the databases, just like over here, and you can actually click into them and modify them. You could change privileges, you could drop the tables here. Like if you want to drop it, you just hit the check mark and then just click drop if you wanted to. And you can also create databases from here as well. And then if we click here, this is where you can run SQL statements. So you can run like basic SQL statements to check things on the server, all that good stuff. Now here's the status. So it brings up, so this right here is the server, network traffic, information on the system, replication status, and that's if you have replication set up or whatever. And then they also have tabs under here, so you can go into processes, you can check all that. So these are processes that are running in the background. Query statistics, this will give you information on the type of queries that have been ran on here. And it says all status variables, you can look at that. They have a monitor tab, and this will store tracking information. Right now it's taking a while because I just opened up the tab, so it's going through and just showing you basic information on the server. And then the advisor, this gives you some recommendations, like it could be some issues that may be there and some possible recommendations to fix those issues. And then right here we can go, these are the user accounts. Like I said, you can create user accounts here, so add new user, drop the database that have the same name as the user. They have different things in here, and you just hit go or whatever and they'll do that. But like I said, you can add user accounts here, and they also have user groups, so you can add groups. So if you have like a group for a specific database that you want to have specific permissions, then you can manage that here. And then here we go. If you go to here, you can export the databases. So let's say you have like a backup that you run monthly from the server. You can actually use this to actually run the backup, like if you want to do it manually, or you could do it from the command line itself by running the export command from the command line, which I recommend you do if you do backups. I would create a cron job and run the command from the command line. You could just run the export, the MySQL export command, and you can export out to whatever database and back it up to a specific location. But you can also export something manually. Let's say you have to do some server maintenance and you want to do a database backup, on the fly. Then you can do it here. It'll export it out. You can specify what format you want it in, and it'll export out the whole database for you. And then here we got the import. So let's say you want to move a database to a different server, then you can grab that exported file, and as you can see, it uses all those different formats. So gzip, bz, bzip2, zip, or SQL.zip. You can put that up there. All you gotta do is hit choose file, and then you can import. And I've actually done this before, so it's a very simple process. And then also, next tab is the settings tab. So they have some more settings in there. This is some of the modules that we added when we installed phpMyAdmin. So that's why we needed to install those modules. But if you look at some of these other tabs, they have two-factor, they have other features, SQL queries, navigation panel. You can modify that. Main panel, you can modify that. Let's click on that. See, you can specify what you want to show on the main panel, so you can make all that stuff look a certain way. Navigation panel, features. So like I said, these are all settings that you can modify on the desktop. So, and then here's the binary log. So I'm not going to talk too much about that, but then we have replication. So you can set up replication. You can set up where you can replicate data across multiple MySQL databases and just keep the data in sync. It's almost like a mirror, so to speak. But then also, if we click on the next tab, there's variables. So they have variables that are preset. You could change them if you need to, but I wouldn't recommend you doing that. But these are server variables and settings, so you can go through and modify that if you need to. And then the chore sets, you can change some of this stuff up too. And this is dealing with the different columns that you set up. You want to set up how you want the data stored in the actual tables. And then they also have some more settings in here, like this says engine. And then also they have like plugins. So they do have more plugins you can add to the server, like audit plugin, authentication plugins, all that good stuff. So, but that's pretty much it with phpMyAdmin. Oh, I forgot to tell you, this is how you log out. So they got a door right here, to log out. This is the home button. This is just documentation. You can go to the documentation, other documentation. Actually, this is the help phpMyAdmin documentation, and this is just it just says documentation. I don't know what the difference is between both of those. It just takes you to documentation. And then this takes you to those same settings under, settings here. This will take you to those same settings. And then you can also refresh, because sometimes when you add a database, it won't show right away. So you can refresh it. That way it'll populate the new database that you added. Or if you were importing a database, it won't show up right away while it's creating everything. And you have to refresh the page sometimes. But like I stated, that's pretty much it. phpMyAdmin, it's a great application for managing your MySQL databases. That's that you can use from a web server. You can set up, on the web server, and you can use this. Similar to my previous MySQL database where I went over Workbench. Well, this offers a lot of the same features as Workbench, but it's on the web. So I recommend you check that out if you're interested in learning MySQL and understanding how to actually use the server. This will be a great application for you to play around with and get familiar with, especially if you want to get into Linux administration. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, please leave comments down in the comment boxes below. And I always like to remind you guys that I do have a Patreon. So if you guys want to support the channel, please consider, signing up for my Patreon, as well as I have a Cash App if you want to send me a couple $2 there, just to help me with the channel, because I put a lot of time into this, around my full-time job. So it'll help out a lot if you guys can, support. But I hope you guys enjoy your day and keep it techie.